You ever have one of those moments where nothing actually happens, but suddenly it feels like everything is on you? Like you walk into a room or you're just standing somewhere normal, and out of nowhere this thought hits you, everyone can see me. Not literally staring, not obviously reacting, just this quiet feeling that you're being noticed, watched, evaluated, and the weird part is, nothing around you confirms it. People are busy. They're on their phones, talking, doing their own thing. But your mind doesn't care about that. It zooms in on you. Your posture, your face, the way you're standing, the way you just moved a second ago. And suddenly, everything feels off. Your body becomes something you're aware of instead of something you just exist in. You adjust your stance. You think about your hands. You don't know where to look. And now it's not just a moment anymore. It's a state. You're in your head, watching yourself from the outside, while also trying to act normal on the outside. And that split, that's where the discomfort comes from. Because you're no longer just being, you're performing, even if no one asked you to. And the more you try to fix how you appear, the more unnatural it feels. You start questioning simple things. Am I standing weird? Did I just look awkward? Did I look nervous? And these thoughts don't come one by one. They stack. Fast, creating pressure out of nowhere. And now, even if someone glances at you for a second, your brain treats it like confirmation, like proof that something is wrong, even if it's not, even if it's completely random. Because at that point, you're not looking for truth. You're looking for validation of what you already feel. And that's why it feels so real, because internally it is real. The tension, the awareness, the discomfort, it's all happening inside you. But what's confusing is how quickly it starts. 1 second you're fine, the next second you're hyper aware. No clear trigger. No obvious reason. Just this shift. And that's the part most people don't understand. They think, why did this happen right now? Why do I suddenly feel like this? As if something outside caused it. But what if it didn't start outside at all? What if that feeling started inside you before you even noticed it? What's actually happening in that moment isn't that everyone suddenly started paying attention to you. It's that your attention turned inward so sharply that it created the illusion of being watched. Your brain shifted from observing the environment to observing you inside the environment. And once that switch happens, everything changes. Because now, instead of naturally existing in the moment, you're monitoring yourself in real time. The way you stand, the way you move, even the way you breathe starts to feel noticeable. Not because it is, but because your focus is locked onto it. And your brain, trying to make sense of that intense self-focus, looks for a reason. It asks, why am I suddenly so aware of myself? And the easiest answer it lands on is, because other people must be aware of me too. That's how the feeling forms. Not from reality, but from interpretation. And once that interpretation is in place, your brain starts gathering evidence to support it. A quick glance from someone across the room, someone shifting in your direction, a small reaction that probably has nothing to do with you, suddenly feels connected to you. And now the loop is active. The more you notice yourself, the more you believe others are noticing you. And the more you believe that, the more you notice yourself. It feeds itself. And this is why it feels so hard to break in the moment. Because you're not just dealing with a thought, you're dealing with a full system of attention that is turned against you. Your awareness, which is normally neutral, becomes hyper-focused and slightly distorted. It magnifies small details and treats them as significant. And the longer you stay in that state, the more disconnected you feel from the environment around you. Conversations feel harder. Movements feel less natural. Even silence feels heavier. Not because anything changed externally, but because your internal focus is no longer aligned with the outside world. And here's the part that makes it even more frustrating. You can't just stop thinking about it, because trying to stop thinking is still a form of focus. It keeps your attention locked on yourself. So the more you try to escape it directly, the more it stays. And that's why most people feel stuck in that moment, until something else naturally pulls their attention away. And the more often you experience this, the more your brain starts to expect it. Not consciously, not in a way you plan, but subtly. You walk into certain situations, a room, a group, even a simple public space, and there's already a part of your mind scanning for that feeling, almost like it's waiting for it to show up. And because of that, it shows up faster, sometimes instantly, before anything even happens, because your brain has learned a pattern Being here might lead to discomfort, and when the brain anticipates discomfort, it prepares for it. It increases your self-awareness as a way to stay in control. But that control comes at a cost. The more aware you become of yourself, the less natural everything feels. And now, even normal actions feel slightly off. You hesitate before doing simple things. You think about where to look. You become aware of your posture in a way that feels unnatural. And this is where most people misunderstand what's happening. They think, I'm acting awkward, but what's actually happening is I'm trying not to act awkward. And that effort is what creates the awkwardness. Because natural behavior doesn't come from monitoring, it comes from flow, from not thinking about every small detail. And the moment you start trying to control those details, you interrupt that flow. You replace instinct with calculation. And that shift is subtle, but powerful. It changes how you feel, how you move, and even how you interpret other people's reactions. Because now you're not just interacting, you're evaluating yourself while interacting. And that double process creates pressure. And under pressure, even the most normal things start to feel unnatural. But here's the key point. This doesn't mean something is wrong with you. It means your attention has been trained in a way that prioritizes self-monitoring over presence. And once you understand that, you stop treating the feeling as a flaw and start seeing it as a pattern that can be changed. Not by forcing confidence, not by pretending nothing is happening, but by slowly shifting where your attention goes in those moments. Because the problem was never that people are watching you. The problem is that you started watching yourself too much. So the shift doesn't come from trying to act confident in those moments or forcing yourself to ignore the feeling. Because the more you try to fight it directly, the more attention you give it, and that keeps it alive. The real shift is much quieter than that. It starts with recognizing what's actually happening while it's happening, not reacting to it, not trying to fix it instantly. Just noticing it. That moment when your awareness turns inward, when you suddenly feel like you're being watched. Instead of following that feeling, you pause and see it for what it is, a shift in attention. That's it. Nothing more. And that changes your relationship with it. Because now, instead of believing something is wrong with me right now, you understand my focus just moved onto myself. And from there, you can gently move it back. Not forcefully, not all at once, but gradually. You start engaging with the environment again. You listen to actual sounds around you. You notice movement, conversations, small details outside of you. And as your attention spreads outward, something interesting happens. The intensity of that feeling starts to fade. Not because you pushed it away, but because you stopped feeding it. Because that state only exists when your attention is tightly focused on yourself. The moment that focus expands, the loop weakens. And over time, as you repeat this process, your brain starts learning a new pattern. I don't need to monitor myself to be okay here. That quiet understanding builds slowly, but it builds strongly. And eventually, those moments that used to trigger that intense awareness start to feel normal again. Not because you eliminated the possibility of feeling it, but because you no longer react to it the same way. And that's the difference. You're not trying to become someone who never feels self-aware. You're becoming someone who isn't controlled by that awareness when it appears, someone who can feel it and still stay present. And that's what brings back that natural flow you thought you lost. It was never gone. It was just being interrupted. And once you start experiencing that shift even a little, you realize something that completely changes how you see these moments. The feeling itself was never the real problem. It was the way you responded to it. Before, the moment it appeared, you followed it, you believed it, you treated it like a signal that something about you needed to be fixed right now. And that's what gave it power. But now, there's a gap, a small space between the feeling and your reaction. And in that space, you have a choice. Not to eliminate the feeling, but to not build on it. You can feel that sudden awareness and still continue what you were doing. You can feel slightly uncomfortable and not turn it into a full internal spiral. And that's where everything starts to feel lighter, because you're no longer turning one moment into 10 minutes of overthinking. We're letting it pass in real time. And when you do that consistently, something else starts to fade too. That constant anticipation, that expectation that it's going to happen again. Because your brain only expects what it has repeatedly experienced. And now, You're giving it a different experience, one where the feeling shows up and nothing bad follows. No overanalysis, no pressure, no mental loop. Just a moment that passes. And that's how confidence actually builds. Not from forcing yourself to be perfect in every situation, but from proving to yourself that you don't need to control everything to be okay. That you can exist in a space, be seen, be present, without constantly adjusting yourself. And when that realization settles in, you stop trying to disappear in those moments. You stop trying to shrink your presence. Instead, you allow yourself to be there fully. Not perfectly, not flawlessly, but naturally. And that's what most people never reach, because they keep trying to remove the feeling instead of changing their relationship with it. But once that relationship changes, the feeling loses its grip. It becomes just another passing state, not something that defines how you experience yourself. And that's the point where you're no longer controlled by the idea that everyone is watching you, because you're no longer watching yourself the way you used to. If this made you realize something about your own pattern, comment aware. And if you want to understand more of these hidden mental shifts that quietly control how you feel in everyday life, you already know what to do.